The Mid-America Veterans Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit business. The museum would not exist without the donations of our generous community. Your donations ensure the museum continues to share and preserve the stories of our veterans. Would you like to be part of something special? To donate, visit mavm.org and click on Donate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. The primary purpose of the Operation Insight podcast is to educate. The views, information, or opinions expressed on the Operation Insight podcast are solely the views of the individuals or guests involved and by no means represent absolute facts. Operation Insight does not accept responsibility for their views or comments. The Operation Insight podcast may at times cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to suicide, abuse, violence, severe mental illness, sex, drugs, and alcohol addiction. You are advised to refrain from watching or listening to the Operation Insight podcast if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. Neither the company, host, director, or the guest shall at any time be liable for the content covered, causing offense, distress, or any other reaction. Welcome to the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum with your host, Jason Galvin, and co-host, Sergeant Ethan Gross. Going to be a great day. We have in studio 3 people with us. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off, Ethan?
Yeah, so Jason, it's not very often that we get to talk to someone who is actually a living piece of history. You know, we get to talk to veterans who have lived history, and they've experienced something that is historical. But today we have Sarge Helyn Kevrick. Hope you don't mind me calling you Sarge.
No, not at all.
I love the nickname, and it's rightly owed to you. Helyn Kevrick was one of the 2 first females to integrate into the male drill instructor academy as a Marine. And so she is someone who paved the way for thousands upon thousands of female Marines. And so it's a great honor to be with you here today, Helen. And tell us who's here with you in the studio.
My daughter, Terry, and my daughter, Rebel.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thanks for supporting Sarge today. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about this. I've been looking forward to this since we've been making this plan, and I'm really excited to hear what Sarge has to say about her experience and also to record this piece of history for posterity.
And, you know, Sarge has been interviewed quite a lot, and your story has been told in many different venues. So I just want to extend my gratitude again for you being willing to tell us the story. And hopefully we get a little bit of a different take on it with you today. Something I wanted to start with is I want you to tell me about your Uncle Buddy.
Oh, he was my idol. And I think it was because of him that I first thought of even doing it. My uncle was in the Coast Guard during World War II. And I thought he was just fantastic. And I looked up to him a lot. And so I thought when I graduate, maybe, and then as a senior in high school, a recruiter from the Marines and the Army and Navy, so on, came to our school and they all talked to us. And I thought, well, I'm going to join the Coast Guards like my uncle did. However, when I went to enlist, they weren't taking women at that time. So I went to the Marines, and I enlisted there.
Is it true
and
that you
very
saw?
Proud of it.
Did you see a poster that said something that kind of irked you a little bit?
Yeah, actually, it said, we need a few good men. And I figured, well, they got to need a few good women, too.
Absolutely.
So I went down there, and I joined.
Tell us about your upbringing and where you're from originally.
I'm born and raised in St. Louis. My parents were divorced, and I lived in quite a few foster homes and the Jewish Children's Home. And then after that, I lived with my mother, and it was kind of a rough upbringing at first. And so when I got out of high school, I joined the Marines and kind of grew up there.
Joining the Marines, was that sort of, in a way, trying to find a family for you?
Maybe. It's possible. Anyway, I enjoyed my service very much. And I have to correct you on one thing. Being the first to go through drill instructor school with this other woman who, I think her name might have been Casey. I'm not sure. We were the first to go through drill instructor school with all men. But before us, there were many drill instructor women who did it on-the-job training with other male DIs. But we were the first to go through an actual school with.
I see. So prior to what you and Casey had done, the female Marines who were being trained to be drill instructors, they were, like you said, they were doing on the job. So they were there with male. They were basically shadowing male drill instructors.
Right.
I see. Okay.
So we were the first to go to the actual drill instructor school with all men.
That's even more groundbreaking than I had first thought.
Yeah,
then. Wow.
Absolutely. How long was the school, Helen? The drill instructor school?
We went, I'm guessing, around a month and a half, 2 months, something like that.
And you graduated in December of 55, is that correct?
From the drill instructor school, somewhere around that time, yeah. It was about over 70 years ago, so I'm a little...
We'll give you some grace. We'll give you some grace.
But pretty close to that, yeah.
Well, tell us about what led up to the drill instructor school. Tell us about your time as a Marine between 53 and 54.
Well, when I first went, we did boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina. And to say it was shocking at first is, well, it was. It was about close to 3 months, and from June to August, and something like that. And it was hard, but nothing in comparison to what they do now from what I've watched. But it was definitely a training period that was physical, mental, because not only did we have the physical part, we had to go to school and learn all about the general orders and that you don't call the wall a wall, you call it a bulkhead, and the floor is the deck, and the bathroom is the head. So you had to learn a whole new language.
Sure.
And then, of course, we had to learn the history of the Marines and of the battles, and why at one time it was only the corporals that wore the red stripe down their uniform, because signified the battle, that they were in the Battle of Chapultepec.
Interesting.
And different things like that. But the more you learn, the more you train, the more your pride in being a Marine was with you. And I was very proud of that fact.
So Parris Island,
South Carolina.
in the dead of the summer.
Yes.
Swampy, to say the least.
That's where they had the sand fleas.
Oh, yeah.
And you stood at attention, and if that sand flea bit you, you just better stand at attention and ignore it.
No reaction.
Yeah, right. But you learn how to do that.
So you're not a Hollywood Marine. You're the real deal.
No. The Hollywood Marines went to San Diego for boot camp.
And no hate to them. I mean, they're just as Marine-y as Sarges.
They're just not as tough.
Yeah, right. So while you were going through boot camp, did you have those female drill instructors who were shadowing the male instructors? Did you see that?
Yeah, but in the barracks, and anything that went on in the barracks was done with the female. The males didn't come in at all.
What was your first reaction when you saw a female Marine drill instructor?
Right.
What was your reaction? Did it interest you at that time?
My first reaction was fear. I mean, we got off. As we went by train to South Carolina, left from St. Louis, we picked up Marines all along the way, and we knew who they were because they were carrying their orders too. We all carried our orders with us. And so we picked up 50, maybe some other Marines, male and female, on the way to Parris Island. And we were laughing. We got to know each other, and we were having fun. And then we landed at someplace in Philadelphia. I mean, in Parris. It's
somewhere just outside of Parris Island.
Well, we landed near Parris Island.
Charleston or something? Near Charleston?
Not Charleston.
So that's okay. If you
I
can't
can't think of the name of it now.
But some depot where kind of the processing
and
took
then
place.
there was a Marine Corps bus there to pick us up. And we're on the bus, and we're laughing, and everything was fine. And all of a sudden, we get to Parris Island, we go through the gates, and this guy gets on the bus, and yells, 10, and we go, oh, boy. We were looking at each other.
Yeah.
And then we get down off the bus, and we get in line. I think that's when he really said the 10. Anyway, we get in the lineup, and they're telling us to line up, and we're still kind of talking. And the female drill instructor who was with the male continued to yell, privates, you are privates now, you are not civilians. You will straighten up and do right. So we figured, okay, we're going to straighten up and do right. And they marched us in. And so that was our first, I'd never been talked to like that.
I feel like they kind of did you dirty by having you on that long train ride, and you're meeting people, you're making friends.
Right. It was
you're
really
joking around.
Oh.
And then immediately it's a
right.
It's a 180.
All of a sudden, whoa.
Yeah.
But and then we get our uniforms, and that's when we were told that our language was going to be changing, and it gave us a whole sheet of the different names. For the drinking fountain was the scuttlebutt, and so on. I mean,
who wants to drink out of a scuttlebutt?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And anyway, that was the first introduction. Then we got our uniforms. And boy, first time I put my uniform, I thought, whoa, I am cool. And made me feel gung-ho right away.
Now, when you wanted to join, if I understand correctly, you weren't quite the right weight.
No, I was underweight.
Okay.
It's hard to believe now, but I was. I weighed about 90 some odd pounds, and for my height at that time, I was 5'4", and at my height, I was supposed to weigh at least 105. And I went home after I signed up, and they said I had to go back for my physical. So I drank everything I could to gain weight. Yeah. And I had a hard time. But the morning I went to take my physical, I drank lots of water. I ate bananas, anything that would make me heavy.
Sure.
And then I gulped more water down when I went into weigh. And I think I weighed about 100, something like that. But they did put down 105.
Nice.
I managed to find that weight, though, when I was in the Marine Corps, especially when I got mess duty. So yeah, it worked out fine.
So during boot camp, I bring up, and I realize it's dangerous to talk about a lady's weight, but thank you for humoring me.
That's right.
So during boot camp, did you find that the physical stress, was it more so because you weren't quite at the weight that they had looked for, or it became easy for you?
No. I think I did all right. Some of the physical exercises we had to do were hard, and I did the best I could, and I got by.
And so just so our listening audience understands, your boot camp is you and other female Marine recruits.
Right.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, there were approximately, I'm guessing around 45 recruits in my platoon. And we were platoon 12A, I remember that. And let's see, there.
Did you guys have a mascot?
Sorry?
Did you have a mascot for your platoon?
No, not really. We didn't have that.
Marines are a little bit different than the Army. You like to dress things up.
But we learned close order drill and like I said, the history of the Marine Corps. And then we would get paid, and we would go through the pay line in boot camp when you were a recruit. They were making the statue of the Marines and the Navy raising the flag over Mount Suribachi.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And we were asked like this: "You would like to contribute, wouldn't you, Private?" "Oh, yes, sir." So
not coerced at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one said no at all.
And so when my daughters and I first took a trip to Washington, D.C., because I'm in the Women's Memorial there, I told them that I helped pay for that statue.
Yeah, so you get to spend extra time there.
So tell us about boot camp ending and you graduating and the feeling that you had.
Oh, well, we tried for honor platoon, and we worked on that really hard, but we didn't quite make it, almost. But it was a proud moment. And then, well, as you're a private, you have nothing on your sleeve. You're in boot camp with no stripe, nothing. And then when you graduate boot camp, you get your first stripe. You're so proud of it. And, man, you're a Marine. And anyway, can I tell you a story about that?
Please.
Coming home on leave.
Yeah, please.
The uniforms at that time were green and white stripe. And I got my first stripe. I was so proud of doing that because some of them didn't make it through boot camp. So I was proud that I was one that did. And I'm sitting on the plane flying home. We wore our uniform in order to get the military discount. There's a woman sitting next to me, and she's looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh, she's impressed. And I'm sitting up straighter. My arm, she's looking at my stripe, but she didn't say anything to me. Then we get up, the plane lands. We get up. She looks at me, and she says, "Are you a Girl Scout leader?"
Oh, boy.
Well, let me tell you, my bubble was busted. I mean, it was a bad, oh, wow. Here I am, a proud Marine. However, in later years, when I got married, I was a Girl Scout leader. And I had the only troop of marching Girl Scouts.
Oh, my goodness.
And my girls here were in my troop.
I was going to ask if they remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And they know close order drill. And I had them hold a rock in their left hand. So most commands start off with the left foot. Then when I would tell them to go left, they would know it's where the rock is. And when right, no rock. However, most of them did pretty good, but some of them didn't do perfect. But I made a marching song up for them, and we marched all the way around the campgrounds, and it was a pretty popular troop, I'd say, wouldn't you guys?
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing time.
I was going to ask this later on. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I was going to ask why your children didn't join. Maybe I now understand that based off the Girl Scout story.
Actually, after I got married, my oldest daughter, Terry here, I tried talking her into I tried talking all my kids into going into ROTC. But so this woman, Terry, she goes down to watch the women down at the ROTC at Mizzou. And she sees them rappelling down a building. She calls me up and she says, "Mom, are you crazy? I'm not going to go out of a perfectly good building like that." So it didn't work.
Yeah, first it's buildings, then it's airplanes,
It leads to something else.
Exactly.
So,
well, walk us through after you graduated boot camp. What happened next? Where was your first assignment?
After I graduated boot camp, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, California. My MOS was supply. I started working out around the barracks, doing things around the barracks, and they made me, as I became corporal a few months after that, and they made me police and property sergeant, which was my title, but I was still only a corporal.
And just to remind people, because, this is, like you had said, this is a long time ago.
Yes.
When you entered into the Marines, there were only certain MOSs available to
Right.
females.
Right.
What can you recall in terms of the MOSs that were, besides supply, obviously?
Well, there was for desk work, for typing and all that.
Sure.
But
Just general office type
The
positions.
clerk type. Motor pool. I really don't remember.
Is that something that kind of irked you when you joined?
Well,
Would you have preferred a different MOS?
no, actually that was okay. But and later, I wanted to be a drill instructor.
Tell us about that evolution of you get to Camp Pendleton,
well,
you're a supply
after I was
sergeant.
police and property sergeant, I was thinking of maybe shipping over because everybody, my friends at home were married, had children already, and here I am, And besides, I was engaged while I was in service, and that broke off while I was also in service. So, anyway, I was going to go. They sent me to drill instructor school, and like I said, I was the first.
Is that something that you wanted? Is that something you sought out, or just happened?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Tell us about your thought process of wanting to be a drill instructor.
I get because of training people, to be able to train people, to be as gung-ho as you are, was a privilege.
And that was a passion of yours?
Not at first, no.
Okay.
It was later on. And when I got there, it definitely was. But going through training for drill instructor school, one thing, while I was in school, my brother-in-law, who I had never met, he wasn't my brother-in-law yet, he was my sister's fiance, was stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Sure.
So I had never met him before, and they got engaged. He drove in from North Carolina to South Carolina, and I met him for the first time when I was going through DI school. So he asked me to go up to the Green Hat, which was our rec center at Parris Island. And I said I couldn't because at that time we had to spit shine our shoes so they looked like patent leather.
Sure.
And I said, I can't do that because Colonel's inspection tomorrow, and I need to be perfect. So he held that over my head for many years. But anyway, that incident did happen when I was going through DI school. Also, they made me guide on bear.
Which is an honor.
Which is an honor, except when you're 5'4" and the guys behind you are 6'4". You have to run. So I ran because they were going down my back. But
so it's possible that was a bit of a cruel assignment.
That was. They enjoyed it. I didn't. But
how did you keep up generally at drill instructor school?
Pretty good. We had the M1 rifle at that time, and we had to learn how to take it apart. Even though women at that time weren't using.
Yeah, you couldn't have any combat role.
No, but because we were going with all men, we had to learn what they had to learn, even where they marked their underwear. I mean, it's, we had to learn. They weren't ready for us.
Yeah, that's
women,
what it sounds like.
Yeah. So, but it was good. We learned the more intricacy about the close order drill,
sure,
and so on. And
did you and Casey bond, or did you kind of have your own separate lives during drill instructor school?
How do you mean?
Did you and the other female Marine?
Oh yeah, to a point, but yeah.
I think most people would assume that you would kind of hold fast to each other through the difficulty.
We were friends. I mean, we both, but we weren't We were close friends.
Gotcha.
I mean, she went her way and I went my way.
Sure.
We were both assigned to different platoons.
Okay, that makes sense then. That makes more sense.
Something I wanted to ask about, Helen. I've read this in an article about you. Your faith came into play while you were at drill instructor school. And I saw some quotes that kind of shocked me. Are these things true? Did these people say these things?
Well, it's true. On Friday night, being of the Jewish faith, Friday night starts the Shabbat, the Sabbath. So also in our barracks, that was the night that you scrubbed down the barracks and everything for colonel's inspection the next day, white glove inspection. Well, being of the Jewish faith, I went to services instead, which I have to admit now that I did it to get out of having to do that because I really didn't like that part of it. So the rabbi who was the chaplain then would pick me up, go to service. But in order for the rest of the guys in my platoon to not be angry with me, I brought back salami, and we had what's called a kiddush like afterwards.
Sure.
And I bring back different things to eat and so on. So they looked forward to that. So they didn't get mad at me.
Yeah, you feed people and they change their
forgive you
tune.
pretty
That's
easy.
right. That's right.
Were there moments of, maybe discrimination is too strong of a word, but were there moments of ignorance on other people's part about your Jewish faith?
Yes. Not too much, but there was. There's comments that were made, some of it out of ignorance.
Sure.
And others just, they thought they were giving me a compliment. They would say, "Oh, you don't look like a Jew." And I thought, what does that mean? And I said, well, what does one you look like? You know, and they proceeded to say some dumb things. Yeah. And other than that, though, not really that much. I ended up getting the duty on Easter and Christmas, which is only fair, so that whoever else that wasn't Jewish wouldn't have to work those holidays. Sure. Could go to church or whatever.
Well, the reason I wanted to get into that, and thank you for telling us about your experiences.
Appreciate that.
Not only are you one of the two first females at this tremendously difficult school, you also have to deal with religious discrimination to some extent.
Yes. Not as bad as some people would have it. But yeah, there is some. There was an officer who I know that she never outright, but I could tell, didn't like me for some reason. But what can you do?
So tell us about your graduation from drill instructor school. How was that?
Oh, that was, I couldn't wait. It was good. You just went on and right away you got, I can't remember all the particulars, but first time you get up and you go into the squad bay and you're the DI yelling, "All right, you yard birds, it's time to get up." Or, you know. So it felt good. But I remember being disciplined when I got in trouble. And I remember somebody reported me smoking in the head. And I got called up in front of the lieutenant's desk. And the window was open then. And the blinds on the window behind her. And you're supposed to stand at attention with your eyes straight ahead. The blinds kept flapping. And my eyes kept flapping with them. Because I was so nervous. And then when you get yelled at, she told me she was going to make me smoke an Italian cigar with a wet blanket over my head and a bucket over that. And I kept thinking, I'll die. I can do that. And then she said, "Do you hear me, Private?" "Yes, ma'am." "All right, just get out of here." So I went to make an about face. Well, you put one foot behind the other, and you turn.
Yep.
I was so nervous I couldn't do it. I kept messing up, so finally she yelled, "Get out of here!" And I ran. That was my first time getting in trouble. And I got what do they call it? Was a word for PC. I can't think of it.
Some sort of penalty.
Yeah, where I had to clean up around the barracks
Yeah.
and do some nasty things.
So after you graduate and you're officially a drill sergeant for the Marine Corps, I don't know a lot of drill sergeants from my experience or service. Do you sort of go through this personality development stage in your mind?
Yeah.
So tell us about that, choosing your drill sergeant personality.
Because you're top dog now.
Yeah.
And so when you walk down the hallway, the recruits had to flatten up against the bulkhead. And it's like, wow, it was good.
You just started walking up and down the halls all the time?
Yeah. I felt like, I'm the top dog now. They got to flatten up. And you feel a little powerful, but you also feel like, wow, I'm going to make these girls good Marines.
You also feel that sense of responsibility.
Yeah, you had a lot of pride in the fact that you were able to be a GI. So,
were there recruits that still stand out in your mind even today?
Well, yeah, there's one. Because she was also Jewish. And I maybe even a little harder on her because I didn't want anybody to think,
You're being soft on her.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but she was...
Did you see yourself in that recruit in some ways?
I remember being a little bit harder on her.
Yeah.
But she was good.
Yeah.
She was really good.
So, graduate drill instructor school December 55, get out of active duty service in 56. Tell us about your decision to leave the service.
Well, my sister had gotten married and had a little boy, and I was home on leave, and I was with the urge came. It was time.
Sure.
I really wanted to get out, have a family, and actually, me being in the military was good for my girls because when they went out on dates and they didn't know what to talk about, they would talk about their mom was in the Marines.
Are we sure that didn't scare the boys off?
They had to straighten up on the bulkhead.
So tell us about your life after you got out. You had a family.
Well, after my kids got a little older, like I say, I became a Girl Scout leader, and I made up the song "Sound Off."
Okay.
Only I made it towards this. It went. Would you like to hear?
I would love to hear it, please.
Oh, you'll be sorry. Anyway, it was the first one was Girl Scouts are a mighty fine group. Now we're marching with our troop, and I'd yell "Sound Off," and they'd yell 1, 2, and we went on all around, and then other verses that had to do with being a Girl Scout. So, that was it. And you know what? I'm still proud of the fact that I was a Marine, and I always will be, and I hope my kids will be too. My daughter Rebel took me on the
Honor flight.
Honor flight.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
The honor flight about 3 years ago. 3 years, something like that. And I was the only female veteran with all males. And it was all done in one day, if you're familiar with it. I'm sure you are. And it was an amazing trip.
So you flew into Baltimore,
We
and that's
flew
where
into Baltimore, and I would, like I say, I was the only female vet. So we flew into Baltimore, and then we went to all the memorials. And they presented, because I was the only female, they presented me with a
plaque.
Thank you. A plaque with my picture and service on it.
Wow.
in front of the Women's Memorial. I had no clue they were going to do that. And now, a few months ago, they called my daughter, Rebel, who took me on the flight. They called her and told her about inviting me to go on the second one, which is the first ever all-female flight.
This is the
my daughter,
Women of Valor.
Terry, is taking me on that one. So
that's fantastic.
I'm really lucky that both of my girls got to take me.
Yes, very lucky.
And this one, they asked me to be the ambassador. I'm not sure what that means other than the fact that I'm the oldest one on the flight. But there's 3 of the military women that are going. Most are Army, Navy, and I don't know if there's any Coast Guard, but there's only 3 women Marines that are going. And I outranked the other 3.
Nice.
They were only corporals. One was a lance corporal. And that's another thing. We never had lance corporal when I was in. It was private, first PFC, corporal, sergeant, staff deck, and master. So
I didn't know that about the ranks. You hear Lance Corporal and you think of the Marines, at least
yeah.
I do. I didn't realize it was relatively recent.
Yeah. So anyway,
go back to the first honor flight. So you land in Baltimore, and if I understand correctly, there was a welcoming party there.
There was other military personnel there that met us, and it was really, everybody in the airport stands up and claps for you. It was really very heartwarming. It made you feel, wow, and there were surprises all along the way that were just, they mail call, which I didn't know, and they had letters from all the different family and friends and so on that you got, and it was just, it was a feeling that made you feel, wow, I did something pretty cool. And even though I didn't go into battle or any dangerous places, because at that time, our job was to release a man so that he could go fight. Maybe that's why some of the guys didn't like us. But anyway, so I went on that honor flight, and it was phenomenal. And then he called to ask me on this one, and so we're leaving this Thursday, next coming Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Now, did you have some female service members that first honor flight that said something in particular to you?
On the first one?
First one.
Other veterans?
They had, well, no, there were some female service members, is my understanding anyway, and they thanked you for something in particular.
Oh, yeah. I don't know exactly.
Well, my understanding is that some service members came up to you and thanked you for clearing the path for them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I went to a high school. They asked me to speak before a group of seniors.
Sure.
This one girl, and they wrote me letters thanking me for being there. This one girl wrote in the letter and said, I want to thank you for showing us, paving the way for us so that we might go forward and do
how wonderful.
Something
That's awesome.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really heartwarming.
And you said something, Sarge, that I think is kind of a perfect example of your service. Sure, you didn't see combat, but in a lot of ways you were on the front lines of female service members as the first to go through drill instructor school as a Marine.
Yeah.
So, combat has its own struggles and difficulties and trauma. I would hazard to guess you experienced very, very similar trauma as the first female Marine to go through drill instructor school.
Well, in some ways, yes. Yeah. But it was I think it's one of the things I have the most pride about doing and accomplishing. However, I have seen different on what the women DIs do now. They send them to school to learn how to scream at them. I could have done that without school.
Yeah, you didn't need training for that part.
I got a heck
Your
of a
daughters
scream.
can probably attest that.
All you had to do was clear your throat, right? And people knew what to do.
There you go.
And you had said something, that, and I'm not surprised at all to hear it, that you're proud to be a Marine.
Oh,
and that's what
extremely proud to be a Marine. Still gung-ho, and whenever I see another Marine, I go up to him and say Semper Fi. And, yeah, I'm very proud of it.
Tell us what it means to you to be a Marine. What does that encompass?
Well, it meant pride for this country and for our then leadership. And let's see.
Pride in your service?
It just, I don't know how to describe it other than the sense of pride, the sense of that I completed it.
What did you try
It
to...
helped me raise my kids to the extent that they had pride in this country. And they had pride in the fact that their mom was a Marine. I think I'm the only one in the family, other than my brother-in-law, was in the Army during World War II. And they did call me back from Vietnam. However, I was already married and had my daughter, Terry, so I didn't have to go at that time.
Oh, wow.
But
tell us, I'm really curious to hear about that process of them trying to call you back into service from the reserves.
Well, because I was still in the reserves.
Yeah.
So, but at that time, a woman didn't have to go if she was married or had a child.
Gotcha.
Of course, it's altogether different now.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's one of the things, other than being married and having 4 wonderful kids, that I did. And I'm proud of that.
And you should be very proud of it.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to hear that your story and the transparency you had to share with us. I know it's hard to recall some of those things, but you did an excellent job on today's show. And I want to give you a last chance to say anything you want to the audience. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here in just a second. And then, Ethan, I'll give you a chance to say a last thing, too, if you'd like to. Go ahead, Helen.
See, I was, like I said before, I guess the thing I was proud of is the fact that I was a Marine, and and still a very proud Marine. I'm lucky to have my 3 wonderful children. Actually, there were 4 wonderful children, but one passed away. But I'm just a lucky person. I got great kids, and I want to thank you for doing this. And that's about it.
Well, I want to use my last comment with actually another question, Sarge. This honor flight coming up is the Women of Valor, and I didn't realize that. This is the first all-female-led honor flight. Right. So, again, you're blazing trails. You're a pioneer. Right. It's truly incredible.
Yeah,
it's a real honor to meet you, Helen.
Thank you.
What I want to hear is this honor flight, you're going to be the ambassador, so you're taking the lead again. Mm-hmm. What do you want your legacy to be?
As far as the Marine Corps goes, proud, a very proud Marine. Still gung-ho to the end. And words are failing me now. And that's unusual. But I guess in some ways I'm one of the luckiest people around. I've got the greatest family. And to say that I'm a Marine is just tops it off.
And I hate
once a Marine, always a Marine.
Absolutely.
I hate to do this to you, Helen, but can you give us something you would have said as a drill instructor in your best drill instructor voice?
Like a command, you
Sure.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, let's knock this off now.
I have goosebumps.
I'm scared. My back's up against the bulkhead.
Thank you, Sarge.
Sarge, it's been a pleasure, and thank you, ladies, for bringing yourselves along here to join us. And we're going to go ahead and sign off of the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum. Operation Insight is brought to you by the Mid-America Veterans Museum. The museum is a 501c3 nonprofit business. Do you like our podcast? With your support, we'll continue to bring you great programming. If you'd like to donate, go to mavm.org and click on Donate.